And it is, once again, no surprise, Ryan Smith on pole for our second truck race of the weekend, alongside number 7, Stuart Oliver. Second row, David Jenkins, number 69, ahead of 46, Bradley Smith. We saw them glued together for third in race 1. Row 3, number 12, Michael Oliver, ahead of 89, Simon Reed. And on the fourth row, number 14, John Bowler, and 86, Tom O'Rourke in their MANs. Hopefully Tom O'Rourke's fixed whatever the issue was in race 1. Likewise, Stephen Powell, he's on row 5 alongside Ricky Collett. And completing the Division 1 field, it is number 68, Craig Reed. He only got one time lapping in qualifying. Unfortunately, all his other times were disallowed for exceeding track limits, so he has to start at the back in Division 1 for this one. We have got one other Division 1 entry here, of course, Neil Yates, electing to start at the back, as he is fairly new to truck racing. We haven't got Simon Faulkner this weekend, number 92, unfortunately. And, of course, Jock Borthwick, unfortunately, still out recovering from his injuries. But I'm sure Jock is watching along with his family. Get well soon, Jock. We'll see you, hopefully, at Pembrey. Division 2, meanwhile, Paul Rivett on pole in his MAN, alongside the number 5, Adam Bintz. Second row, Craig Evans and Simon Cole, a decent effort from him. Head on to the second row in Division 2, John Powell and Jim Bennett on row 3. Neil Yates in the Division 1 truck completes the grid for this one. Well, it was Flying Ryan all the way in race 1 ahead of Stuart Oliver, with Bradley Smith holding on for a podium in third place. Must thank all the sponsors and associates of the truck BTRC, the British Truck Racing Championship this year. Of course, all the trucks running on HVO fuel this year. Adam Bint pioneered that in the championship, a simpler and, more importantly, clean alternative to diesel, used from made from waste-derived cooking oils and fats. So keep eating your fish and chips from your local chippy. You never know if you're a truck racing fan. The waste oil might be going into these trucks. Other partners of the championship include TRP Parts, Truck and Trailer Parts, over 130 locations across the UK. Road Transport Media, who publish the famous Truck and Driver magazine, among others. MV Commercials, headed up by Tom O'Rourke. Vision Track, video telematics and vehicle data. Freyhouf Trailers, Total Care Vehicle Lifts, and GT Tyres as well, plus MAN Truck and Bus. Dines Motor Group are also supporters of the championship. Thanks to all of them. It's the TRP truck that's leading them round on this rolling lap. Big beasts in the east of England once again. Can anyone stop Flying Ryan Smith, going for win number 13 of the season here at Snetterton? Stuart Oliver had 2 wins at Pembrey, 1 at Thruxton, so going for win number 4 of the season here. David Jenkins and Bradley Smith both looking for their first. Paul Rivett battling with Adam Bint for the lead of the Division 1 points. John Powell not far away as well. Keeping it steady on this rolling lap as the sun begins to set here at Snetterton. There's Neil Yates at the back in the NYR, Neil Yates Recovery Racing Team, MAN. Keep an eye on Simon Cole, looking for his best Division 2 result of the season so far as well. Can Craig Evans get his first Division 2 win? He is desperate for a victory. 5-ton, 1,000 horsepower race trucks up towards the red lights. The pace truck is in pit lane. Tension mounts. Race 2 of 5 this weekend here at Snetterton for the British Truck Racing Championship. Lights about to go out. Here we go. The power comes on, and away they go. Decent getaway by Stuart Oliver. Watch for Michael Oliver as well, trying to get through the middle. Paul Rivett leads off in Division 2. Something flew off. I don't know who that came from at the back of the Division 1 pack there, but Ryan Smith has the lead ahead of Oliver. Jenkins in third. Michael Oliver's flown through into fourth. There's contact between Tom O'Rourke and one of the Reeds there, going into Riches, I think, as Ryan Smith leads up towards the hairpin for the first time. David Jenkins trying to get up the outside, so is Michael Oliver. We look back in the pack. There was some contact there in the early stages. Michael Oliver's been shuffled wide by Bradley Smith, one of the Reeds involved. It was Tom O'Rourke who got hit on the first corner by either Simon or Craig Reed, couldn't tell which. Back of his truck looking a bit second hand, but the race continues. David Jenkins all over the back of Stuart Oliver. It's Ryan Smith who leads down to Agostini for the first time. Side by side for second, but Oliver's got the inside line. Here comes Bradley Smith up the inside on 89 of Simon Reed. Division 2 battle heads into Agostini as well. Clouds of dust being kicked up on the outside there. Well, Ryan Smith's already escaping. Stuart Oliver in second place. Third is Jenkins. 89 of Simon Reed under fire from John Bowler. He's got away well in the number 14. Then it's O'Rourke. Michael Oliver got forced wide on the hairpin. Made a good start, was up into fourth place, but 3 into 1 didn't go at the hairpin, unfortunately. Behind him, Stephen Powell in the number 3. We've lost somebody up there, I notice, at the entry to Oggies. It's one of the Reeds, it's Craig Reed. I think he's got away without hitting anything, spraying water out there as the truck rejoins. We're on board with the number 12 of Michael Oliver, chasing the remnants of Tom O'Rourke's truck briefly there, as they start to sort themselves out around the completion of the first lap. Stephen Powell trying to close up on Michael Oliver. Paul Rivette, meanwhile, is leading Division 2. One truck I've not seen out there is... there he is, Ricky Collett. I was wondering where he'd gone. He must have tangled with Craig Reed. I was wondering where Ricky had gone. He's in among the Division 2 trucks. There's Simon Cole. Further back, John Powell's been delayed as well, number 6. There's been a bit of a melee at Oggies, I think. Adam Bint under fire from Craig Evans in the number 10. Hard to see through these clouds of dust and smoke in the late afternoon sun. You can't emit any black smoke. If there's black smoke seen coming from your truck, you will get a black flag in return. Paul Rivette leads Division 2 then. Side by side between Adam Bint and Craig Evans, and the third championship contender, John Powell's dropped back. Simon Reed having a go at Bradley Smith. This is for fourth place. David Jenkins escaped into third place ahead of them. But Ryan Smith leads at the end of lap 1 by nearly 5.5 seconds. That's how dominant Ryan Smith is. And look at Tom O'Rourke's truck, it's falling apart. Thankfully, that's only superficial damage, just a bit of body work. He got clobbered by one of the Reeds. I think it was Craig Reed on the first corner. Craig Reed has come into the pits. I wouldn't be surprised if that collision has damaged his steering, and that's why he went off at Oggies. Yeah, Tom O'Rourke will have to be hoping that that bodywork doesn't flap around too much, or he'll get the black and orange flag and have to come into the pits for the team to remove it. He's got Michael Oliver, number 12, on his tail. Yeah, it's not a happy day for Craig Reed. He had all but one of his lap times disallowed in qualifying, and now he's in the pits. Stephen Powell having a better run, though, towards the back of the Division 1 field. Well, there's Ryan Smith. He's in a different race to everybody else. Even with all his wins over the last 7-8 years, I've never seen him clear off in front of a field like this in the early stages. Stuart Oliver in second place, still ahead of David Jenkins, champion back in 2011. 89, Simon Reed, chasing hard after Bradley Smith. Craig Reed, of course, a former Division 2 champion, appears to be out of the race in the pit lane. Division 2 led by Paul Rivette, taking the fight to Adam Bint in the points charts. Looking at the points, Adam Bint led by just 13 points over John Powell coming into this weekend. Paul Rivette a further 11 points back, so he's got a bit of work to do to catch them up. Craig Evans not far away there, he's on 234 points. So he's 32 points behind Bint, 32 points covering the, as I say that, John Powell has slowed. What's happened there to the number 6? He's dropped behind Jim Bennett and Neil Yates, so John Powell's in trouble. Yeah, the indicator's going, he's pulling into the pits, I think. Simon Reed almost pushing Bradley Smith through the hairpin there. Bradley Smith, not to be confused with number 16, Brad Smith, who we saw out at Donington in the International Truck Pre-races, along with a certain John McGuinness, among others, the Isle of Man TT legend. What is it about motorcycle racers and truck racing? John McGuinness, the latest motorcycle convert. We've seen Barry Sheen race trucks in the past when the sport first started in the 80s. Steve Parrish, of course, former bike racer, went on to become a multiple European truck racing champion. Steve Parrish, no less, was out at the Goodwood Revival back on a motorcycle last week, sharing with Barry Sheen's son Freddie. Bradley Smith goes a bit wide through Hamilton there in the Scrapco and Ferns sponsored 46, the 89 Reed Freight Iveco behind him. And behind them, John Bowler running well. One win for him in Division 1 so far, it was at Thruxton. John Powell has indeed pulled into the pits, problems for the DAF. That could harm his championship challenge. He needs every point he can get. Well, Ryan Smith is in a different league out in front. Over 8 seconds clear now. Here's the battle in Division 2. This is for second place. Paul Rivette's got ahead of Ricky Collett, of course. There's a buffer between Rivette and his championship rival Adam Bint. David Jenkins still harrying Stuart Oliver as Simon Reed at the inside at Coram goes through. Good move, Simon Reed up into 4th place past Bradley Smith. Bradley Smith, who his team pulled off the most amazing rebuild I've ever seen. He went into the tyre wall at the Craner Curves at Convoy in the Park at Donington, and somehow the team got the truck back out for the next race after the front axle had been ripped out. I've never seen anything like that. Full credit to number 46 team. There's Simon Cole, he's still going well up there in 4th in Division 2. Craig Evans is all over Adam Bint in the older Volvo. Adam is a former Division 2 champion of several years ago. This Volvo used to be in a blue and white livery, the colours of CMG Recovery. Changed to this menacing black and orange colour scheme. Bonneted Volvo is, of course, reminiscent of the trucks that Richard Walker was so successful in back in the 90s, the Lucas-sponsored machines. Before that, Richard raced the Century Oils Kenworth until it was completely destroyed in a massive start-line collision at Zolder. Look up the onboard footage from that incident. It's quite scary. Well, there's Tom O'Rourke. Running a bit wide there, the truck fortunately not shedding any more body panels, and Bradley Smith's in trouble. He's lost places, he's dropping down the order. Stephen Powell's gone through, so has Michael Oliver. I think we might see Bradley Smith heading for the pits here. That's a great shame. Well, Ryan Smith, no relation to Bradley, incidentally, leading by over 10 seconds now. There he is, into Brundle. Six minutes of the race to go. It's making it look effortless out in front, Ryan Smith. He's won races 1 and 2 at every round this year. This will be win number 13 for him. Stuart Oliver still there in 2nd place. He's had 3 wins so far this year. David Jenkins yet to taste victory. Simon Reed throwing the number 89 around there in 4th place. But John Bowler has adapted quickly to Division 1 up there in 5th. Tom O'Rourke going well up in P6 despite that early damage. Stephen Powell 7th, then Michael Oliver. Now this race sets the grid for race 4 tomorrow. We're on board with Michael Oliver. As it stands at the moment, he's in P8. He would stand to take pole position for race 4 with the top 8 reversed. Bradley Smith and Craig Reed, of course, after their problems, would have to start from the back. Back of Division 1, that is. Now, has Bradley Smith pulled it into the pit lane? We'll wait and see. Well, he may not have got that far. He hasn't come through yet. Yes, he is into pit lane. Problems for Bradley Smith, sadly. So that's let Ricky Collett up into P9. Paul Rivette, the Division 2 leader, is now 10th. Now, how far ahead of Adam Bint is he? 6.5 seconds. So it's looking good for Paul Rivette once again in Division 2. 4 wins at Donington last time out. Stuart Oliver, the 10 times champion. He's been there, seen it and won it in truck racing. He's been European champion as well. Chased by David Jenkins. In the digraph, Morris Lubricants MAN. Simon Reed just keeping a watching brief in 4th. Had a couple of wins in his Division 1 career, former Division 2 star. There's Bradley Smith's crew at work in the pit lane, trying to find out what the problem is. Yeah, Simon Reed has had 2 wins this year so far, both at Donington Park in the Iveco on his local circuit, the man from Stoke-on-Trent. And here's that Division 2 battle for second place. They're not catching Paul Rivette, however. Craig Evans is still all over Adam Bint, who's doing as much as he can to hold him off. There's Rivette, keeping pace with Ricky Collett, the Division 1 veteran. Former champion. Bint just holds the inside line there under the bridge for the left-hander. Swing their way out of Nelson, up towards the bomb hole. See the circuit drop down there and then back up again. It's a depression in the circuit. The feature of Snetterton since the place opened. As motorcyclists first noted this, as we said earlier. Through the left at Murray's. Still Craig Evans cannot get past that number 5 of Adam Bint. Just over 2 minutes to go now, so wait to see whether it'll be 1 or 2 more laps to go for Ryan Smith. Stuart Oliver being closed down by David Jenkins for that second place. They're over 15 seconds down on Ryan Smith. He's just so dominant this season. Of course, things might change in races 3 and 4, where he'll have to start from P8 on the grid. But he's even won from there this season on a couple of occasions. These two a couple of seconds clear of Simon Reed in 4th. Then a gap back to John Bowler of around 6 seconds. The lead gap in Division 2 has increased to over 9 seconds now. Paul Rivette is similarly running away with that. I think we'll get 1 more lap out of this. It won't matter to Ryan Smith. The only question for him now, unless he suffers a mechanical problem, is how far he's going to win by. Still, Craig Evans throwing everything he's got at Adam Bint for second in Division 2. They're not going to catch this man, Paul Rivette, the multiple Renault Clio champion. He's done a few BTCC races as well. Now in his new calling of truck racing, and he's chasing Ricky Collett. Ryan Smith has just gone onto his last lap. There are a few seconds left when he crossed the line. Bit of smoke there from Ricky Collett, I think, or is that steam from the brakes? It looked like more like smoke to me. Yes, there's definitely some smoke there. Ricky Collett had a spectacular engine blow up in the first weekend of the year on Easter weekend at Brands Hatch. I hope that's not going to happen again. He does not want to let another engine go up in flames. They are extremely expensive race truck engines. Collett, whose company hauls some of the biggest and heaviest loads seen on Britain's roads. Stuart Oliver, the GT Tyres truck, up there in second, chased by David Jenkins. Jenkins' best chance of a move is probably at Coram for the last time. Kicks up a bit of dust there. I'll say that, he's having a go at Agostini. Moves back to the outside as Oliver moves across to take the line. As if David Jenkins heard me there. Said, no, I'll make a move here instead. But that's allowed Simon Reed to close up in the Iveco. It's Daimler, Volvo, MAN, Iveco. 4 different makes in the top 4 places. In Division 2, it's MAN, Volvo, MAN, and Iveco in 4th place. Oliver goes a little bit wide there through Oggies. There's gentleman Jim Bennett, the good old Seven Atkinson, the Ayrsham Gravels truck man from Suffolk. Still going strong at 74. And he's about to be lapped by Flying Ryan. He's going to take one of the most dominant wins I've seen in the British Truck Racing Championship in some time. Through the bomb hole, up towards Corham. Disappearing into the sunset. There's Bennett. There is Smith. Is Jim going to let him through here, or is he going to finish side by side? No, he's going to briefly balk him there coming out of the corner. Excuse me, says Ryan Smith. I've got a race to win here. Bennett lets him through. Ryan Smith wins by a country mile. Jim Bennett crosses the line a lap down. We await second place to come through. Is Stuart Oliver going to hang on? It looks like it's... Oh, Simon Reed's gone wide onto the grass. That's kiboshed his chance of a podium. Stuart Oliver comes over in second place, just ahead of David Jenkins. Reed in 4th. Division 2 is going to be won by Paul Rivett, but who's going to be second? Is Craig Evans going to make a late move? Been trying all race long to get past Adam Binns. Fourth has gone to Simon Reed. 5th is John Bowler, good run by him. Tom O'Rourke 6th, just ahead of Stephen Powell. Michael Oliver 8th, that'll give him pole for race 4 tomorrow. It'll be Ricky Collett in 9th place. Paul Rivett will complete the top 10 and win Division 2. Adam Binns, look at that, sideways into Murray's for the last time, coming out of Corham. That's bamboozled Craig Evans a bit there. Paul Rivett's come across the line, won Division 2, and Adam Binns with a superb defensive race takes second in class ahead of Craig Evans. It should be Simon Cole home next, the number 41. There he is coming through Corham. And Neil Yates will be the last man on the lead lap. He's over 30 seconds down though on Simon Cole. Jim Bennett has already finished a lap down. And we lost Bradley Smith, unfortunately. John Powell and Craig Reed all pulling into the pits. Here comes Simon Cole, the new Iveco, still to find its ultimate pace, but working well. At least he's picking up points now. 4th in Division 2. Jim Bennett has already come in a lap down. And here comes Neil Yates, the man who had a massive crash at Thruxton in race 4 on his truck racing debut. It certainly was a baptism of fire for him. The recovery company boss from Kent had a couple of his very impressive American trucks on display in the paddock at Convoy in the Park. He brings his number 33 MAN, one of Stephen Powell's fleet of trucks, in to take the flag. Provisional result then, Ryan Smith the winner by 20.88 seconds, an enormous margin of victory. Stuart Oliver holding off David Jenkins for second, with Simon Reed just behind them. John Bowler a good 5th ahead of Tom O'Rourke. Then Stephen Powell and Michael Oliver complete the all-important top 8. Ricky Collett, after a moment on the first lap, finishes 9th. Paul Rivett's another Division 2 win for him. That's 6th in the last 2 events. Ahead of Adam Binns, who somehow held Craig Evans off all the way. Simon Cole, Neil Yates and Jim Bennett completing the finishers. We lost Bradley Smith, John Powell and Craig Reed into the pits.